The beauty of this is we are recording live, so everybody can see Nate, like, making sure this is nothing but 100% for everyone. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, technically, that's not bad, you know? All right. I'm hearing that. Yes.
That's probably because that's good. It's the...
There's all kinds of problems everywhere. It's just everywhere.
No, the issue here is that it's not perpendicular to the projection surface.
Correct. All right.
The other issue would be is there's not a single right angle or flat surface in this entire building. This is true.
Well, there's that. Yes. Yes. All right, so we are going to get started tonight. How's everybody doing? Tired. Sign me up. Yes. What's that? Exhausted. Getting closer. I'm with you. Yes. Like hangry, like just hungry. Red sauce, Alfredo sauce. Okay. Pesto, you know. Okay, noodles with Alfredo. Okay. Oh, there we go. Anybody else want to tell me how they are? Yeah. Yeah. I did that. My hand was on there. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it really was. I was there the day we did that. Yes. It was in high school, Sunday school. Yeah. I don't know. I convinced them not to paint over the tree. So we kept the tree. So that's good. Yes, they were. So, anyway, first world problems. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Yes. Where are you going on your field trip tomorrow? The farm. Excellent. Sounds tomorrow should be a good day for it. I see where this is going. I have 49 slides. I'm so bad. Like when I do presentations at work, 1,000 slides. This is awesome. I say nothing else, but I just have a quick thing. Yes, okay, how quick is it? Good for you. That's cool. You're going to have a blast. I'm sorry. I have to move on. I have to. All right. So we are going to get started. Tonight, we have the exciting topic of Isaac and Rebekah. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll pay you later. Does anybody have any idea who Isaac and Rebekah are? We have two. Anybody else have any idea who Isaac and Rebekah are? Well, this is going to be a fun night then. You're going to learn. Yes? So we have one person here. Yes. People. Like we're getting closer, yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about these folks, Isaac and Rebekah. But we're going to start, as we normally do, with a prayer. So you can pray together with me. Or maybe I'm the leader and I'll just pray. God of promise, open our minds and hearts to the stories of your people so we may learn from their faith and trust in you. Help us to see and experience your guidance in the ordinary and extraordinary events of our lives. Thank you for the never-ending care that you bless us with each day. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about some updates. We have a volunteer opportunity coming up on Sunday, the community meal. So if you're looking for one way to help, that would be something. And then want to remind everybody, November 16th, that's in about 3 weeks from now, we're doing our shopping event on Confirmation Night. How many of you have not done shopping before? Everybody, have you done shopping? Okay, everybody's done. You have not. It's a blast. You guys haven't either. It's really fun, okay? So the ask is, it's more fun when you're able to buy more things. And so if you can, figure out how to work with your parents and see if there's money that you can bring to that night to help support what we buy for the food pantry. The other ask, and this was in a note that came home, make sure you get a permission slip signed, because otherwise you can't go, and you'll miss all the fun. So please make sure you get that permission slip into the church. Questions? That's a comment, not a question. Questions?
The permission slip.
Yes.
is long.
Yes, correct.
So if you haven't done it, it's online.
There was an email that went out yesterday that has a link to it. Yes, and he did it already. Question? Yes. So, we're going paperless. It's just easier. It's better for the trees. All right. So anyway, keep that in mind and, again, save some money for that. All right, so a quick review. The last several weeks, we've done a couple things. We started talking about the Bible, right? And we talked about what does the Bible have to do with us, right? That was the first 2 weeks. We talked about creation and how we can care for God's creation, right? We did that. And then last week, excuse me, we talked a little bit about Abraham and Sarah, right? Do you remember those two folks? What can you tell me about either Abe or Sarah? Yeah, what do you got? They were about to give up on God's promise to give them a child. That's perfect. Thank you. What else? No, actually. That's a misnomer. That means people think that, but it's not true. I'll tell you the truth. We'll get to the real story. Go ahead.
Sarah's my art teacher, and she's the only teacher that doesn't allow me to draw on her whiteboard at the end of class.
Okay, we're going to stick with the church Sarah, the Lutheran Sarah. Yes. They did, yes. More than the stars in the sky and the sand on the sea. Yeah, not really, but we're going to get to that. Yes, yes. She did laugh, didn't she? Yes, absolutely. It was hilarious funny because she was like 1 billion years old, right? And she wasn't ready to have children. Yes. He was. That's like almost as old as me. It's crazy. Words hurt, pal, okay? They hurt. All right, so we're going to keep going, and today we're going to talk about Isaac and Rebekah, all right? So, why do all these people matter? Does anybody have any idea why we're spending so much time on Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebekah and the whole gang? Any idea why does this matter? What do you think? That's true. That's true. It's more than that, but that's a good place to start. Yes, absolutely. There is a reason that we try to learn to trust what God tells us to do. But there's a bigger reason that we're talking about Abraham and Sarah in this whole gang. Any idea why? Yeah?
Sarah won't let me draw on her board.
Okay, enough about teacher Sarah, all right? I love her, but enough about her tonight. All right. Now, what if I told you that 3 of the 5 largest religions in the world came from these two folks? It's true, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. All right? So, we start with a chart that's impossible to read, but on my computer screen at work today, it looked really good. So, the very beginning, you got God, right? That's where it all started, right? And at some point, God made these first 2 people on earth. Do you remember who they were? Adam and Eve, right? Famous people, okay? And you go quite a ways. You actually pass all the way through Noah and a few other people, and eventually you get to the people we talked about last week, which are? Abraham and Sarah. Absolutely, okay? So, Abraham and Sarah, and wait, who's this other person?
The maid person.
The maid person. Ooh. How many of you watch soap operas? Anybody? This would be a great soap opera, okay? So here's what happens. Abraham and Sarah, they get this message from God, right? And what does God tell them? Yes, what else? You're going to have kids. And Sarah did what? That's right, okay? And like a year later, what happened? Yes, exactly correct. A year later, nothing happened. And 5 years later, what happened? Nothing, okay? And so they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting, okay? And Abraham has this maid. Her name is Hagar, Okay? Because that's what the chart said. Sarah, this is where it gets good, and this is where it's different than what you thought. Sarah suggests to Abraham, I don't think we're going to have a child. I think God's wrong. Yes. I think you should go with Hagar and have a child. Okay? It's like the days of our lives. And so, yes, there is a chapter that's called The Birth of Ishmael. You're absolutely correct. And so, you're about to answer my next question. Sarah and Hagar both have kids, right? Hagar's child is named Ishmael. Absolutely. Has anybody ever heard of Ishmael? Yeah. Yes. Yes. That was actually fairly common back then. Yes. Well, because sometimes videos try to go a little bit more streamlined, right? A little bit more succinctly to the point. And the videos for kids, not a soap opera. So, back in biblical times, people actually did have more than one wife. It was fairly common. Yes. I don't remember how many wives Joseph had, but again, it was very common. Something like that, yes. So, could be. It's just the way it was, pal. Just the way it was. So, Hagar had Ishmael. Who did Sarah have? Sarah had a child as well. Isaac, yes. And so we've got Ishmael and Isaac down here, okay? Which was the firstborn son? Ishmael was the firstborn son, okay? So you kind of get down here. So we're going to talk about Sarah and Isaac for a second, all right? This is what happens. So Abraham here has Sarah and then Isaac. Then Isaac marries Rebekah and has Jacob and Esau. And then eventually they have these 12 kids, or Jacob has these 12 kids, and they become the 12 tribes of Israel. Has anybody heard of the 12 tribes of Israel?
Yes.
You have? Or are you just cold and nodding your head? Yeah, okay. 12 tribes of Israel? You've heard of them? Okay, this is good. 12. We talked a couple weeks ago, the number 12. Why does that matter? Do you remember? Anybody remember what 12 means? Dude. Seriously. It is. And it means God's perfect authority. Okay? So when God wants a perfect number, he chooses 12. All right? So we've got these 12 tribes of Israel. And this is basically how we're going to get to Abraham having all these descendants. Okay? They aren't really kids, but they're descendants. So all these descendants are starting with these 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? And then eventually, who do we get to? Jesus. You can follow from Abraham all the way down to Jesus. Okay? That's kind of cool. So we have the start of a religion. What's that? This is a longer story that I'm not going to get into. Okay? But yes, he had another. And they had more kids. Yes. Yeah. Abraham had a lot of kids. What can I say? But Isaac was the first one for us. Isaac is the important one. Now, here's the interesting thing. Let's talk about Hagar and Ishmael. All right? What happens with them? I know. So Abraham, this is the Isaac side of the family. This is Ishmael. And you go through a few people, and eventually you get down here. Does anybody know what that name is? Who the heck is Muhammad? Any ideas? Yeah. Well, that's a different one. Yes. Absolutely. No, you're right. He is the Islamic prophet. Okay? Muhammad, who is basically the most important prophet in the entire Muslim faith, is a descendant of... Yes. Yeah, come on up. That's fine. All right? So basically, you've got one side of the family saying...
Does Jesus have a brother?
Yes. Jesus had several brothers. Yes. It's actually in the Bible. Yeah. No. It's actually in the Bible in a couple different places that Jesus had brothers. Yep. So, you've got this half of the family that's Christianity, that follows Jesus, and this half of the family that basically starts the Muslim faith. All right? So when you look here, you've got the Hebrew people, and this is Jesus and Christianity, but oh, by the way, you've also got Judaism. Okay? Jews basically go all the way up to Abraham. And the Islam faith goes through Muhammad, through the Arab people, all the way up through Ishmael. So what that means is you've got Islam, different branches of Islam. You've got Christianity with different branches. And you've got Judaism. All of these religions, 3 of the 5 biggest religions in the world, they comprise about half of the world's religions, are from one person. Let me change that. From 2 people. Fair. We're starting to get weird. I'm going to go back to one person. They start with one person, and that is Abraham. Okay? So we call these Abrahamic religions. All right? So you've got Islam, you've got Christianity, you've got Judaism, and they all start with the same person. But we all believe slightly different things. Okay? So as Christians, we believe that Jesus Christ is God's Son. Okay? Do Muslims, the Islam faith, do Muslims believe in Jesus? Do they believe he existed?
Yes.
Absolutely yes. Yep. They believe Jesus existed. Not only that, but they believe he was a prophet. Okay? Yes.
I thought it was like Allah or something like that.
Allah is God. Okay? Jesus existed in the Muslim faith, but he is not considered to be God's son. Okay? What about the Jewish faith? Did Jesus exist?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? Jesus, what was Jesus' religion? What was he? He was Jewish. Absolutely. Yep. Okay? So you got each of these different religions, and they all have close to the same beliefs. Okay? We're a lot, when you watch the news, you hear like, oh, we're so different, we're so different. And the reality is these religions are actually very similar. Very similar. They all start at the exact same point. Okay? How many of you knew that? All right. Well, we've done our job tonight. So that's a little bit of a background. It's why this matters. Okay? We spend some time talking about, excuse me, we talk about Sarah and Abraham and their kids because it started 3 different really big religions. Okay? Questions on that? Go ahead. Yeah. Isaac and Rebekah. So we talked, Sarah and Abraham had a child, right? And his name was Isaac. And we're going to get to Rebekah in a second. All right, so we're going to read a couple verses out of the Bible tonight. But our focus tonight is this, okay? It's that God guides and provides in both extraordinary and ordinary ways. So as we go through this, I want you to think about what are some ways that God provides for you. Okay, we're going to talk about this at the end. But think about, how does God provide for you? Okay, we'll come back to that. And then the big question, what does God give me? Like, what's in it for me, right? What does God give you? Food and water. There we go. We'll talk about that a little bit more too. So, we got some key words. While I choke to death, I have got this cold that will not end. It's the most annoying thing in the world. And literally the only place it is right there. It's just right in my throat. It's the worst. So, take 2 minutes in your group or your people around you, and I want you to think of, there's 3 different, well, I'll start with guide. Take 30 seconds. What does the word guide mean? To guide. Not a noun, but a verb. To guide somebody. Okay? 30 seconds. Go ahead. What do you think? Who has an idea of what it means to guide? Go ahead. Showing you the way. That's pretty good. What do you think? Steering someone in the right direction. Any other thoughts? Okay. How about to direct, supervise, or influence? To lead, steer, or pilot. Very good. You guys are good at this game. We're getting a lot better at this. I really think so. To show the way that is to be followed. So that's perfect. Nice job. All right. Next one. Again, 30 seconds. What does it mean to provide? It's not providi. Contrary to popular thought, it's provide. Go ahead, 30 seconds. What do you think? All right, somebody else that hasn't talked yet. Willow, what do you think? To give. Very succinct, short, to the point. I like it. Okay, what else? Any other ideas on what it means to provide? Great minds think alike. Yes?
Here's the stuff you can do stuff with the stuff.
Very stuffy. Okay. Any other ideas? All right. To supply or to make something available. To give. Very good. To get ready in advance. So yes, to give what is needed. Okay? Last one. This is a hard one. Okay? I'm going to give you 40 seconds instead of 30 seconds. That's right. Because it is hard. What does it mean to bless? What is the definition of bless? 30 or 40 seconds. Go ahead. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. Again, this is a tough one. What do you think it means to bless? To give. So you think it means the same thing as provide? Okay. Very good. All right. What do you think, Willow? To accept. Okay, we're getting closer, yes. This is unfair, but go ahead. You're using your resources as you're able to. To confer prosperity on someone or happiness on someone, right? Absolutely. Yes, very good job. Yes. When you sneeze, somebody usually says, bless you. Yes. And the idea is, right, if you sneeze, okay, you want to confer happiness. Right? You hope they get better. And so, God bless you. All right? So, where this matters is we're going to talk later about God providing and God blessing, okay, particularly as we talk about Isaac and Rebekah. So, we are going to open the Bible. The book of Genesis. Where is the book of Genesis in the Bible? It is the first book in the whole thing. That's right. I'm going to beg you. Actually, I'm just going to ask you. I'll call on you. All right, so I want you to find Genesis chapter 22, verse 1. Raise your hand when you're at Genesis chapter 22, verse 1. I won't make you read, but I want to know when you found it. Raise your hand when you found it. We did it. Okay. You can put your hands down. All right. Would somebody be willing to read? Would somebody be willing to read Genesis chapter 22, verse 1 through 18? It's a good story. It's a really good story. Okay. How about you read the first half and you read the second half? I won't even say which half is better. 1 through 9, if you would. Loud enough so people can hear you. All right, read along if you would, please.
After these things, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, and he said, Here I am. He said, Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I shall show you.
Okay, hold on a second. What? What did he just say? God told him to do what? Offer your son as a burnt offering. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What do you just take a guess? What do you think that means?
Sacrifice.
Yes. Not just a pit. Like a pit is a hole that's not on fire.
Sacrifice.
Okay, yes. So it basically means build a fire pit, put your kid on the fire pit, and light the fire.
What?
God's honest truth, yes. This is what it means. Read that again. Just listen carefully. This is amazing. Go ahead and read that again.
He said, Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I shall show you.
Wow. Again, soap opera, right? You don't find this stuff on TV. All right, keep going. What happens next?
So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. He cut the wood for the burnt offering and set out and went to the place in the distance that God had shown him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place far away. Then Abraham said to his young son, Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you. Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. So the 2 of them walked on together. Isaac said to his father, Father, and he said, Here I am, my only son, he said. The fire and the wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering, Abraham said.
Okay, Isaac's starting to figure this out, isn't he? Like we've got the fire for the offering, we've got the wood. Where's the offering? Isaac's looking around, right?
I have one more.
Go ahead.
Abraham said, God himself will provide the lamb for a burnt offering, my son. So the 2 of them walked on together, because you have done this, and... Oh, whoops. So the 2 of them walked on together.
Awesome. No, you're good. You're good. Thank you. The Bible goes. All right. So Isaac's starting to figure this out, isn't he? So let's figure out what happened. Is Isaac going to get burnt on the burnt offering? How many surprises have I given you so far tonight? Maybe he is. Let's see. Go ahead.
When they came to the place that God had shown him, Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on
She
top
thinks
of
this is
the wood.
funny.
Then
This is great.
Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to kill his son.
Okay.
The angel of the Lord came to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And
Okay.
Abraham...
I'm going to stop you there. Just 1 second. He had the knife, right? He was ready to go. Raise your hand if you think Abraham actually would have killed his only son. That's kind of what the Bible's saying. Good answer. Good recovery. Yeah. That's kind of what the Bible's saying. Abraham was going to. Okay? No, it was God saying it. Okay? Read that last, the angel part again. Right where it said the angel came and said, yep. So listen carefully here. Abraham lifted the knife, was going to
But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
Okay. So basically God was kind of testing Abraham to say, did you have the faith, right, in me to provide. Okay? How many of you think that's cool? No. No. Okay? There's some stuff in the Bible that's like a little bit hard to figure out. And sort of messed up, right? And this is one of them. I'm actually going to stop you here. Thank you. Yes. Except he didn't know what was going on. Because this isn't what you do when you're a young son. You listen to your parents. Isaac wasn't your age, okay? Isaac was about 6 or 7 when this happened. Okay? Yes. And if your dad told your brother Isaac to do something, he would do it. All right? This is kind of hard to figure out, right? So God is testing Abraham for a little bit. All right? But dude, can you pop up and sit in your seat, please? I really like seeing your face. It's awesome. Thank you. So God tests Abraham. Abraham passes the test, right? He was going to kill his kid. God says, no, not now. But we're still missing something, right? Not ever. Not ever. What are we missing? Isaac was looking around for what? Something to be sacrificed. Yeah. So at the end of this, after the angel talks, they look around, and in the bush over here, there's a ram, which is basically an adult sheep that's stuck in the bush. And they're able to sacrifice that instead. Okay? And the blessing is that God found something else to sacrifice as opposed to Isaac. Okay? So, it's a really important story because it shows, Abraham's willingness to do whatever God says. Remember last week we talked about doing what God says even if it's hard? This is about as hard as it gets, isn't it? Okay? And yet Abraham was willing to do it. But the second thing is God, knowing that it was willing to provide. So, there's more. So we talked about Isaac? In the Islam faith, the Muslim faith, they believe that Ishmael is the one that was supposed to be sacrificed. So we believe that Abraham was going to sacrifice his son Isaac. And in the Muslim faith, they believe that Abraham was going to sacrifice his son Ishmael. Okay? Same story, 2 different people. So if you look in the Quran, which is the Muslim scriptures, you'll find the story of Abraham ready to sacrifice Ishmael. Who knew? Okay? So, we are going to skip over the story of, we're going to gloss real quickly through the story of Rebekah. Okay, so I'm going to do this. You're going to love this. I spent weeks drawing these pictures. So we're going to do a brief story in pictures. No, I didn't draw these. Mine would be stick figures. All right, so here's the deal. Sarah dies. And actually, if you read in the Bible, it says that she was so distraught over Abraham coming that close to killing Isaac that she just felt horrible. And the next chapter starts with Sarah died. Okay? So there's some scholars that think she died because of worrying about Isaac. But she's dying, or she's dead. Abraham's getting old. Like, he was 100 when Isaac was born. Now he's really old. Okay? And Isaac still doesn't have a wife. God told Abraham he's supposed to have all these descendants, and Isaac doesn't even have a wife. So what does he do? Okay? He looks around town. He's like, not going to happen here. Right? There's no women who are following God, no good women. And so he sent a servant back to his own homeland and said, go find Isaac a wife. This is going to seem really weird because this is not how it happens these days. Okay? But back then, it's like, go find me a wife. So the servant heads out to find Isaac a wife. So on his way, he decides, I'm going to stand by a well in town. I'm going to see who comes to offer me water. And whoever offers me water and offers my camel water is the person that God will provide to be Isaac's wife. Like, no, dating sites or, coffee or anything like that. It's just we're going to stand by the well and see who comes and offers me water. And Rebekah, stay with me here. Stay with me here, please. So Rebekah comes to the well, and she offers the servant a drink. And she gave water to the camels. And the servant says, well, this must be the person. Okay? And so he says, I have a gift to you. And he brought gifts for her that Isaac had sent and Abraham had sent. And he said, my master Abraham sent me to find a bride. And good luck, you're it. Does this seem weird to you? Okay. This is actually kind of the way things happened, okay? It was actually really good to be married back then, okay? Women didn't have a great place in society, okay? And the only way they kind of did was by being married. It's totally different than now, okay? But that's the way it was. So the way that you found support and sustainment in life was you got married. And so to Rebekah, this was actually an okay thing. Is this a question?
Yes, it's a question. So, I know that back in the time when this was happening, lots of people weren't rich and didn't have a servant and a camel and gifts.
Correct.
So does that mean Abraham was kind of wealthy?
Abraham was comfortable. Yes. Probably not wealthy, but very comfortable. These days would be upper middle class. Okay, good question. All right, so Rebekah agrees. God answered Abraham's prayers. Rebekah's father gave his blessing, and Rebekah went back to marry Isaac. Okay? So again, it's this idea that Abraham had faith. Like, where in the world am I going to find a bride for my son? So he continued to have these descendants, and God provided. So, God will provide. So we're going to talk about kind of my faith story. What does God give me? All right, so I asked you before, what does God give you? Okay, what are some things? We got food and water, right? We nailed food and water. Yes. Grace. You know you're in church, don't you? That's a good church answer. All right. If you were at school and somebody asked you, it's a great answer, don't get me wrong. What does God give me? So the first thing I think of, I'm lucky. I got some money. I got a house. I got a car. I got stuff, right? When we think about the things God give us, sometimes this is where we go, right? We got stuff. Am I wrong? Raise your hand if you like the stuff you have. Of course you do. Okay? So, what does God give me? Does he give us all these things? Does he give us stuff? Yeah, right? We're lucky enough. We won the lottery by being born in the United States, and we have more than 99% of the people in the world. It's true. Okay, let me explain it for you. This is a suburb in the city of Manila. Does anybody know where Manila is? Manila is in the Philippines. The Philippines is down in Southeast Asia. 2 weeks ago, my wife was in Manila, okay, for work. And she visited some of the neighborhoods in Manila, okay? This is a very, very typical house in Manila. Okay. Who's ready to go and live here? Nothing. What's that? Probably doesn't look much better than the outside. Okay? Here's the interesting thing. Okay? As she was walking through these neighborhoods, she saw kids, and they were thrilled. They were just happy kids. How can that be? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. They have, yes, absolutely. So it's less about the stuff that they have, right? And more about how they view what they have, yes. Well, that might be. That might be. So again, the idea of what does God give me, right? Normally what our challenge is to look past the stuff that we have. Because yes, we're lucky to have those things, but we're also lucky to have family. We're lucky to have friends, right? For me, this is the most important thing to me. I have a church family. Like that's a blessing that I have, right? When I think about what God gives me, this is a piece of it. Okay? I have health from time to time. All right? But this is an important part, okay? 5 years ago, I was really, really sick. Really sick. Okay? And I asked God, like I'm praying, like, and I'm a good prayer. Okay? Like, please, like, make me better. Because this sucks. I hate being sick all the time. Okay? And you know what? Did God answer my prayer? No. No, he did not. No. Absolutely not. No. So I had to have surgery. Okay? I have an organ that was removed. Okay? It sucked. It was horrible. God didn't answer my prayers. And that's an important lesson. Is this a question? Yeah. Yes.
Was it the appendix?
No, it was my large intestine. So, and yes, it did. All right, but the point is, there's things that we can look for and ask for. Sometimes God doesn't even give us. And yet we still have blessings. There's still things, while my life isn't perfect right now, I still have a reasonable amount of health. Okay? And yes, I still have my stuff. And so the question for you guys, as you think about your small groups, really think about what God gives us and think past the stuff. And I would challenge you to think past the family. The family's easy, right? Everybody has a family, and that's great. And it probably is really important. What else does God give us? You don't have to answer now, but think about this in your small groups. Yes. That's stuff. All right. So real quick, we're going to go through quiz show. You can raise your hand if you think you know an answer. All right? So, Abrahamic religions, we talked about this real quick, account for what percent of the world's religions? A, 50%, B, 100%, C, 2%, or D, what's an Abrahamic religion? What do we think? A. Everybody agree? Yeah. 50%, yes. No. All right. Which of these is not an Abrahamic religion? We have a quick answer on D. Raise your hand if you think it's D. Absolutely. Hinduism, not an Abrahamic religion. All right. Abraham had children with how many women? A1, B2, C3, or D, way too many to count? C. Yes, 3 women. Sarah, Hagar, and I don't even remember her name, but it was another one. All right. Which of the following is not a descendant of Abraham? Okay? Is it Jesus? Is it the prophet Muhammad, John the Baptist, or the disciple Peter? What do you think? Okay. And who thinks it's something different? Maybe it's C, but maybe it's B and A. It is Peter. John the Baptist is actually, he was a cousin of Jesus's. So they're both descendants of Abraham. All right, true or false? God provides a snake for Isaac to sacrifice in the place of Isaac. Raise your hand if you think this is true. Very good. Yes, it's false. All right. 6. There's disagreement. People disagree on which son of Abraham's was asked to be sacrificed. Raise your hand if you think this is true. That's right. Think about the different faiths, right? You're a laugh a minute. That's hilarious. All right, number 7. Abraham followed God's instructions even when they were hard to do. Absolutely, that's true. He's ready to kill his son. I can't think of anything harder to do. And the last question. God always provides everything we ask for. True or false? Right. Even though we want it, we don't get everything we ask for. And that's okay, because we still have all kinds of blessings to live with. All right. Questions before we get going? Yes.
How is it that they brought the fire? Did they like get hot? Like, how
They didn't have matches back then. They used sticks and rocks to create a spark, yes. Just it's a translation. He didn't actually carry fire. Yes? No, he was going to kill his son and then burn him, yes. Yeah, that's generally how sacrifices were. Is you killed the animal and then you sacrificed the animal. Yeah, but he did not. Remember, the angel told him to stop right before. All right, any other questions? Cool. You have your group, I have my group. And everyone else goes with Colleen. So, you're okay with that, right? Okay. So, Stu's got his group, Nate's got his group, I have my group. Everyone else with Colleen, and away we go. It'll be great. Thanks, everyone.